You murdered him? You murdered your teacher in cold blood?
Oh, yes.
I always thought he died peacefully, that it was just his time. But you killed him.
I think we've already established that particular detail, unless anyone else here would like to take a turn at being confirmative. Incidentally, within a few weeks, I'd become leader of the opposition. It turned out that Mogdred couldn't survive the destruction of his, better half.
You sicken me, Fear. Everything you've just told us, you committed an act of foul murder against the man who gave you everything. Don't you feel any remorse at all?
Of course I don't. Didn't you hear what I said earlier about moral sermons being the lament of the bad loser?
So you don't feel disturbed in any way at all by what you did?
Nope.
Fine, that's your story written off then, isn't it?
Eh?
Have you forgotten the rules, Fear? The task is to tell the story that you find the most disturbing. And you've just told one that doesn't make you bat an eyelid. A low score, I think.
Well, that's for me to say, not you.
Indeed it is. But then I think you already have done. Our turn, I believe. Stiletta?
Dungeon Master?
You are the one who is to offer our story.
Me? But I don't have...
Before we begin, though, there is a small task I must perform. It will only take a moment. Stiletta, take out your emerald dagger. This is your finest blade, is it not, Stiletta? Do you remember where you obtained it?
Yes, of course. At least, I think I do. No, I was sure I did. But actually I don't.
As you shouldn't. It's spellbound. I'd always hoped I would never be placed in the position I am now, where I would have to break that spell.
What are you talking about?
Give me your hand. Dispel. O-R-G-E-F-T.
What'd you do to her?
I've dismissed a spell Greystagg placed on her some years ago. It was called Forget. Now what she was allowed to forget, she will again remember. And I doubt she'll thank me for it.
No, Treguard. I promise you I will never thank you for making me recall this. But I'll win your battle for you. I see now how I can.
Don't be absurd. You can't win without the boss's say-so, and he won't say so.
We'll see about that. Here is my tale. I'm younger than I look. Well, let's face it, I'm not just being vain when I point out that I look pretty young anyway, but I'm even younger than that. My mother named me Salvania.
You had a mother like?
Yes, I had a mother. Her name was Mellisandre.
You what? She can't have been your mother. That means you can't be more than, 7 years old?
15, actually. My mother was unusual, and she never got any older. She had other problems, though, in that nobody could approve of her being a mother at all, not when she was unmarried and of limited wealth. It was with an aching heart that she one day decided to look for another to take care of me. Someone who could afford to, and who could protect me from society's disapproval.
I'm begging you, Mr. Bartram. You have to take my daughter in. I just can't take care of her any longer.
Well now, Miss Mellisandre, you've got to understand my position. I mean, it's not that I don't care, you understand? I mean, I sympathise, I really do. It's just that, well, I've got a reputation of my own to think about, you know? And I'm not saying for a minute that I agree with everybody's attitude, not a bit of it. It's just that with all the scandal surrounding you two, I'd be a very unpopular man if I took the little one. Oh, isn't she adorable? But I mean, I might suffer a downturn in profits. I have to be practical, like.
Please, Mr. Bartram, that's the whole point. People will reject me, but I can cope with that. But I don't know whether I can protect Salvania from it. Please help me.
I'm sorry, Melly, truly I am, but I just can't. No, if you'll excuse me, I've got a stall to run.
Wait. I have some gold. You can use it to cover a care for a few months.
How much gold are we talking about here?
My last bags of coins. It's all I have.
Let's see. Well, it's quite a bit of money.
It's all I have left.
Yeah, so you said. Well, it goes against my better judgment, and I should stress that it's entirely out of the goodness of my heart that I'm even prepared to consider this, but I think it's only right, purely in the interests of a vulnerable innocent, you understand, that I should take you up on this delicate little deal you're offering me. Hand over the gold. Oh, and of course the little cherub. I'll make sure she's well looked after.
Promise me you won't take good care of her, and not mistreat her in any way.
On my honour as a gentleman, I promise with all my heart to treat the little darling like I'd treat one of my own. After all, dear lady, I'm honesty by name and honesty by nature.
And so, eyes full of tears, my mother gave me up to a twisted tradesman. To be fair to Bartram, he looked after me well enough and developed a real affection for me. But of course he had no intention of keeping his word to my mother, and sure enough, when I was old enough, he started using me for the real purpose he'd taken me in for the first place, to pick the pockets of shoppers in the marketplace. Still, I was good at it. That was my schooling in my life occupation.
You took your time.
Sorry, Chief, but look at this haul. 2 wallets and a necklace.
Oh yeah, let's have a shifty. Oh, my dear gal. You really are a quick learner, ain't you? I'm so proud of you.
I did good, didn't I, Chief? I did a good job, yeah?
Oh, you did, my lass. I can't say how happy you've made me.
And make him happy I did for some years. I'd steal money and jewels for him, and he'd share them with me. Being so young, it took me a long time to notice that I was missing something in this arrangement. Namely about 3/4 of the profits that I could easily keep for myself with the other quarter. So one day, I did just that. I did my usual round of the crowds while Barty kept them distracted with another demonstration of something useless, and then when I was done, I turned and ran.
No takers for these fine items, that's all then, ladies and gents? Oh, well, I'll take my business elsewhere. Have a good day, all. Salvania. Salvania. Where are you, sweetheart? You were supposed to join me here. Salvania?
But I was already gone from the town altogether. I trekked for hours until I found a derelict cottage in the hills where I could take shelter for the night. Being a child, it hadn't even crossed my mind to worry about where my next meal or mouthful of water would be coming from. I also didn't think to check whether or not the cottage was occupied.
I thought you said it was derelict-like.
It was, but that doesn't always mean unoccupied. This one was occupied by a pack of goblins.
Ah, my favourite.
Likes a track, Facey.
What chicks she sprite? I reckon it'd be worth risking live burial down here just to hear you screaming. Lovely.
Skarkill, please, a little dignity.
What now?
It's just an expression I heard it somewhere. I thought I'd try it out. Please, Stiletta, continue your engrossing little tale.
I escaped by luck. The goblins had been scavenging off the livestock of nearby farms for some weeks, and the local overlord, Count Brinkatore, sent a troop of soldiers to hunt the hunters. The goblins didn't stand a chance, of course, and I was captured and taken to Castle Brinkatore, where I was pressed into slave service as the lady-in-waiting to the Count's wife.
Ah, the famous Lady Brinkatore. Famous as in well-known, and let's face it, there are plenty of men out there who know her very well indeed. I'm sure there are some stories you can tell us about her.
I imagine you've heard most of them. Life there wasn't so terrible, it must be said. Lady Brinkatore could be a bit of a forceful dragon when she wanted to be.
Salvania! Get in here now, you worthless ball of dog snot!
Mom?
What took you so long? Right, clear up this mess, then prepare refreshments and bring them to me at once. Then I want you to straighten up all the suits of armour decorating the main hall, polish them, and reposition the weapons on some of them to a less suggestive angle. Then mop the floor and clean out the drains. I want that banqueting hall spotless for Lord Fear's visit tonight. Well, why are you still here?
Pardon me, Mum. I didn't realise there was a feast tonight.
Oh, my apologies, dearest heart. Didn't realise I had to clear it with you first. Get out of my chamber and do your work, you lazy little heifer.
But for all that, she was really nice when you got to know her.
Again, there's many a man who can attest to that.
Yes, well, I think it's fair to say that I never got to know her in any sense, because she was never nice to me.
I've had many dealings with Count Brinkatore in my time, but I don't remember him hosting a feast in my honour. Even he isn't stupid enough to regard me as a real friend. He knows what I do to my friends.
Well, he hosted it all right, and you attended.
I did? Most splendid occasion, milady.
Oh, why thank you, my lord. One likes to put in a big effort on these occasions.
Or to put it more precisely, she liked to sit back and watch with great interest while making other people put in a big effort for her.
I notice your husband has placed his favoured treasure on the wall. Isn't that a little risky?
Oh, you mean the great firestone of Telemachai? Yes, his finest conquest, raiding the dragon's nest and stealing that. He never tires of telling that story to me.
Oh, well, I'd be interested in hearing about it.
Well, you can go and ask him. I'm so sick of hearing about it, I start nodding off just looking at it.
Ah, well, I'm not asking about how it was obtained on this occasion, dear lady. The stone itself. Is it true what they say about its flawless purity?
Not a clue. My husband often mentions things about it magnifying light perfectly, but it's all Greek to me.
Ah, interesting stuff nonetheless.
If you say so. I'd much rather talk about that outfit you're wearing. It looks simply splendid. The spare pair of eyes in the back of the head. So elegant.
Why, thank you, my dear lady. Oh, servant. Yes, you, the girl. What's your name?
Salvania, my lord.
Yes, well, I'm sure that'll be fine. We may have a word in private.
Why do you want to talk to one of the riffraff?
Oh, I have a little surprise in store for your guests, and I'll need her to help arrange it. What are you jabbering about? You're supposed to tell a true story, and none of this ever happened.
Oh, but it did.
Well, then how come I don't remember any of it?
You made me an offer, and I was naive enough to accept. Instead of arranging a real surprise, you arranged a distraction for me to do your dirty work. Just as before with Bartram, I was being used as a thief in someone else's robbery.
Wheel it in, serfs. That's it. Feast your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Gather round and tuck into this shining example of technology-assisted cookery. This wild boar was artificially mutated with the power of my super-enhanced growth accelerator device to make sure that there's enough of it to go round, and was then cooked to perfection using my new multi-setting fireball applicator. And all of that was done in the last 10 minutes. Come on, everybody, come and tuck in.
While everyone in the room started gorging themselves on freshly cooked meat, I sneaked back in and unhooked the firestone from the wall. Then I ran outside and handed the stone over to one of your henchmen who was there waiting for me. It soon became the final piece in your mighty dreadnought, allowing it limitless power as long as there was light. When the firestone's disappearance was discovered, of course, I was seen as the one to blame, not you, but I was lucky. For some reason you decided to keep your word, and you took me away from the dismal life of service to the Brinkatores. Instead, I could look forward to a dismal life of service to you.
There is nothing frightening in this story, even if it were true, which it isn't. I'd never even heard of you until after we'd set up base in Marblehead and you'd started raiding our stores.
The story isn't over yet, Lord Fear. For you, the worst is yet to come.
I can't imagine why. I mean, it's not in your nature to like people. But you took a shine to me, just as Bartram had before you.
What? Me? Take a shine to someone? Don't be absurd. I wouldn't take a shine to anyone, least of all some spotty, prepubescent serving girl.
For the next several years, you started teaching me in person. Perhaps you saw in me your first real protégé. I can't say. But you taught me everything you could think of about the philosophies you believed in, what you could do, what you planned to do, everything you are and everything you stand for. I was to be the beneficiary of it, it seemed. If techno-sorcery were to make you an emperor, it would make me queen.
Now, raise your arm slightly, Salvania, that's it. Now, forefinger well forward, and... motion! Not bad. Still got to work on your aim, but...
I can't get the hang of this, my lord. Fireball throwing's more your field, I think.
Of course it is, but you've still got to learn some kind of personal self-defence.
Ah, but I have, my lord. Watch what I've been practising in my spare time. See? I can hit the target with these things every time.
Knife throwing? Knife throwing? Oh, for badness sake, girl. You do never listen to what I say. I keep telling you the old ways belong in the old days. Knives have no place in the future. They're old stuff. No technology, no sophistication, no class.
But I like them.
Like them? Like them? What can there possibly be to like about redundant contraptions like these, ahead of the soaring beauty of what we can build together with the powers of parascience?
Well, they're easy to use.
Easier to use? Easier to use? If people always took that attitude, the druids would still be in charge and no one would even know that the world is round.
The world's what?
Look, never mind. Just put the knives down and concentrate. There's a round planet out there waiting for us to conquer it. Right. Arm up. Forefinger well forward.
I'm not saying I was unhappy, you understand. In many ways, I was far happier than I had ever been serving Bartram or Brinkatore. At least I was now well-fed and reasonably safe, and even though I was definitely a subordinate, at least I was no longer a slave. I shared in many a campaign of yours, helping you work your techno-sorcery from behind the scenes against dungeoneers and enemy warlords alike. I helped you glory in your triumphs, But still, I couldn't find it in myself to accept technomancy as my future. So you decided to try and change that. My lord, what is that machine?
Go have a closer look if you like.
It's very bizarre. What does it do?
Step inside the compartment and have a look. All will become clear then.
All right. It's a bit cramped in here, and I still can't see what... My lord, what are you doing? I can't get out.
For what it's worth, Salvania, I really wish it hadn't come to this. You have so much potential in this field that I was sure you'd be able to learn the value by yourself, but you just won't accept it. So I'm afraid this little invention of mine will have to accept it for you.
What is it? What are you going to do to me?
This is a psychopattern maturator, Salvania. It will accelerate your brainwave patterns, taking those relating to techno-sorcery to their ultimate potential. You will understand the art completely, you will love it as I do, and you will finally see it as it surely is. Your whole future. It begins now.
The pain was unimaginable. You were as close a thing as I'm known to, Father, and you hurt me. Every cell of my body was stretched and strained and distorted, and it hurt! You hurt me!
So what? His lordship was your boss, and he could do whatever he wanted with you. If he wanted to change your thoughts...
Well, that's just it, though, isn't it? He didn't change my thoughts, not in the way he believed. The ridiculous, unworkable machine had no effect on my mind at all. It was my body it matured. I gained 8 years in as many seconds, but my mind changed only in one small way. All of a sudden, I found I had yet another master I couldn't trust. For 3 nights afterwards, my sleep was racked by nightmares of the pain I'd gone through, and each time the pain was stamped on with a single image across my mind's eye, the face of Lord Fear.
None of this happened! I see no terror in what you describe, and none of it's true anyway, so you lose the bet, Treguard. I'm taking the witch and...
The story still isn't over, Fear.
No, indeed. After the 3rd day, I knew I couldn't stay with the opposition anymore, so I went to Knightmare Castle to speak to Treguard himself.
I understand your situation, Salvania. I will grant you asylum among the powers that be. You'll be safe from Lord Fear from now on.
But how can I be? How can I be safe from him when he's already done so much to hurt me? There's no escape from what's already happened to me, Treguard.
Nor is there for anyone else, Salvania.
Don't you see, though, Treguard? I have his knowledge. All this rank, foul technology in my head. And I remember the pain of what he did to me. I so want to forget. All of it!
We're made by our deeds, not our memories, Salvania. Our memories are what we learn from.
I didn't want to learn this, and I don't want to feel like this. Until that can change, I can never be free.
Do you really feel that strongly?
Yes. This sorcery's robbed me of my childhood, Treguard. I just can't cope with it. I still slept fitfully in Knightmare Castle that night, but at least I slept longer and more deeply than I had for days. It showed that I was out of physical danger at least, and the next morning I entered the dungeon antechamber to find a surprise visitor. You're Greystagg, aren't you?
I'm flattered to learn that my fame is so widespread.
Why are you here?
She has a gift for you, Salvania. We simply need to be sure that you want to accept it.
A gift?
Look at this. I have here a dagger whose blade has been forged from pure emerald.
Wow! Why wouldn't I want that? It looks amazing.
It is not so simple, child. It has been forged with grey magic, but at its core, its magic is green. A single spell has been cast upon it, and if you accept the gift, you must use it to let a drop of your own blood. This will release the magic into you.
And what does the spell give me?
Stupidity.
Doesn't sound very inviting so far.
It is what you desire, girl, or so the dungeon master leads me to believe.
I don't
You want to forget something that only a fool could not remember. This spell will gift you the power to forget one secret, no matter how large it is.
Really?
Oh yes. It will even allow you to forget your entire involvement with Lord Fear. All the knowledge you learned from him, every deed you did with him, everything he ever did to you.
That is what you want, is it not?
More than anything.
Then it is agreed. Take the stiletto and strike yourself once across the arm with it, keeping in mind at all times what it is you wish to forget. The magic shall do the rest.
I took the dagger eagerly, admired the exquisite workmanship briefly, then held it poised over my arm, and then stopped. How many times can this be used?
Only once on any one person.
But it can be used on someone else afterwards.
Oh yes, there is no limit on how many people its power may be used upon.
I can't do this yet.
I didn't think you could. The enormity of what you're planning to do to yourself.
You don't understand. I will use it on myself, but there's something I have to do first. Please, let me take this somewhere first.
I did say it was a gift, child. It is yours. You may take it wherever you please.
Thank you. I'll return soon.
Where did you go?
Back to Marblehead.
Marblehead? Were you off your brain? I thought you were terrified of going back there.
I was, but this was more important. I returned to face my lord and master.
I know where you've been hiding, Salvania. Of all people, I never imagined you'd be the one to turn your coat.
I'm sorry, my lord, but I'm not who you thought I was. I can't stay with you, and I can't side with you, and it grieves me to know what that will make you.
And what is that?
Alone.
You think I can't live with that?
I know you can't. You wouldn't have taken me in the first place if you could. And for all your greed, all your selfishness and all your fanaticism, I know you did everything you did for me out of love.
Out of what? Are you ill?
Love. In your own way, of course, but you loved me as a father loves any daughter, and that's why I'm here. Because I don't want you to spend the rest of your life knowing that you were abandoned.
This conversation is getting sickening. I should just fry you alive right now.
You can't. If you were capable of doing that to me, you'd have done so as soon as I walked through the door. Now I want you to do one last thing for me. I want you to think about me, and everything you ever had to do with me.
What?
Just do it. Please.
All right, why? Ah! Why, you little... Oh, I don't feel so...
That's it, my lord. Rest now. By the time you wake up, you'll have forgotten I ever existed, and I'll be back in Dunshelm working the same magic on myself. It's right this way, you know. I need never feel the hurt of what you did to me, and you need never feel the hurt of abandonment. I'd truly hate for you to feel that.